All right, folks, welcome in. Of course, I have the wrong mic connected. Now I have the right one. Hope everyone's doing lovely today. A lot of news to get to. Going to talk about the big ones. First, for beatbestball.com subs, $100 a year, just push through updated underdog ranks and DraftKings ranks. We'll have Eliminator and Drafters soon. Secondly, I also pushed through an article, and this is for free members. So all you got to do is be a free member to the site to read this article. And what I did is one of the Twitter doctors, I saw he was making good threads. His name's Brandon. I don't know anything about him, but I just reached out and said, hey, would you be interested in writing up the injured players? And I give my take. So I'll read through the Malik Nabers portion. Now, I will say, as I'm getting ready to push through the article, out came clips of him running. So let's just read this section. And then, we'll go forward. Malik Nabers is perhaps the most, this is Brandon here, is the most polarizing fantasy asset at cost this offseason. If we knew he were able to shake off his injury concerns, he would be a smash pick in the early third round. However, his rehab has been far from straightforward. In late October 2025, he underwent not only an ACL reconstruction, but also a lateral meniscus repair. The meniscus repair significantly delays return to sport timelines as it requires early weight-bearing restrictions, delaying initial functional milestones. We are drafting from the 6 hole. Nabers' timeline took another hit when he underwent a cyclops lesion excision in April 26. This secondary procedure was likely performed due to trouble with knee extension during his sport-specific drills. A cyclops lesion excision does not delay timelines in and of itself, but it acts as a bottleneck, which prevents progression towards higher-level rehab. Research shows this adds about 2 to 4 weeks to the return to sport timeline. Despite these points, the Giants remain optimistic, recently confirming Nabers will avoid the physical unable to perform PUP list, which would have sidelined him for at least the first 4 weeks of the NFL season. While this news is optimistic for drafters, the underlying concerns remain. In professional athletes returning from an ACL injury, research shows a significant drop-off in production, at least in the first year back. Additionally, re-injury risk is highly elevated for the first 2 years post-op as the new ACL graft undergoes a maturation process. Some may point to players like Keenan Allen in 17, Cooper Kupp in 19, who both had highly productive seasons following the ACL injury. Outliers exist in every form of data, and Nabers could be one too, but at round 2 to 3 prices, it's a massive risk. And then I added my color. I said he's going to start rising in drafts as he was not put on PUP. While we are not going to see 5th to 6th round Nabers now, you need to understand, if he went on PUP, he'd be going in the 5th round. I still don't think much has changed for him. I maintain he is largely a risky bet who probably doesn't play until around week 4 and may not be fully himself this year. I'll mix some in the 3rd round, but would be fully out at 2nd round price tag. Certainly sounds like Brandon is pretty bearish as well. And then I added a note rather than, we're going to go Monraw here, rather than delete this and then be like, oh, let's change everything. There's a route of him running. I wanted you to know that that was our baseline. And then I said, moments before this article, the below clip dropped, which is this one. Rather than deleting, I'm going to keep our initial concerns and add commentary from Brandon and myself. When I sent the clip to Brandon and asked if he's concerned about a Nabers fade seeing him run, he said, going to write a tweet up on this, but honestly, earlier than I thought he'd be back considering his 2nd surgery, and he looks to be moving pretty well. Suggest that he might be back earlier than I thought, was previously guessing week 4. In general, it's a positive sign that he's back running routes, cutting, as it means he has cleared through his rehab goals faster than normal. The same underlying concern remains. Re-injury risk is elevated year 1, documented performance dips in the research at least in year 1, sometimes 2 to 3 throughout professional sports. Nabers is a freak, though. It's possible he is an outlier to the broader NFL/professional data. And my additional color was, I think the market could get crazy with Nabers prices from these clips. FOMO, fear of missing out, is a strong drug in the best ball world. And others who have been fading Nabers could be competing to get some shares. Not only that, but like the guys who like Nabers, they're going to only feel better about it. And they're going to be like, oh my God, I'm right. I am getting a first round talent. Like I need to get even more of him. While I agree Nabers could simply be different, I think I'll play it by trying to get some third round shares the next couple days and still sit out second round Nabers if he gets there. And then I inserted the clip of him running. Connor Hughes had this to say, which was a bit more measured. He went through running drills in full offense, no defense at full speed. He made a couple hard cuts, looked great in the ladder drill. There wasn't as much burst, seemed a tad timid in certain portions, but that's expected. It's early and long ways to go, but hard not to feel optimistic about week one. I added a bit more measured than a clip of him running a route, but I'm sure drafters will ignore this and just go full guns a-blazing. So my base expectation is people are going to get crazy for him. I think in my ranks, I put him at 32. Let's make our pick here. Stu Pickens today. So I put him at 32, which is by Buka T. Higgins and ahead of the running backs. And I'd feel pretty good at getting him at those prices, right? Like I have several teams with Nabers in 44, 43, 42, 41. Those prices are obviously gone. I kind of wish and would like for him to get to the second and even the mid-second, because then it's just kind of an easy fade. Then it's just like, okay, well, even if he's like fully himself, you're really not even getting that much value. So that's my take of how I'm going to play it. Even if Nabers is mostly himself, Jackson Dart's touchdown prop total is low, hard to get there in half-point PPR. And the clips where he looks good, which are like 2-second clips, those are being posted a lot with like rocket ship emojis. I posted another clip where he did not look good, right? He did not look good at all. He looked very timid to me. One of the number one skills that elite wide receivers have is the ability to decelerate. That means slow down. And that looked bad. Now, it's July 29th. There's a month until football, basically. But yeah, I'm going to play it that way. And I'm pretty comfortable to play it that way. I have over half my entries left in the flagships plus the high stakes stuff. So people are like, oh, you're committed to this Nabers fade. So he goes at 28, 26 in this one. That seems fine to me. Yeah, like Trey McBride a lot. But that seems fine to me. Am I going to be jamming him there? Because, like, no, I still have big concerns about how efficient he's going to be, if he's going to be himself, all these things. And him running routes against air doesn't change it that much. But, like, who did I just take? I took Trey McBride, the tight end 1 last year. So it's not like you can't make other good bets who are not coming off injury and don't have these concerns. Moving on to other news, Ricky Pearsall, I tanked in my rankings. He is injured, same injury. This sounds really bad. Lowered him a lot. I raised Stribling. Christian Kirk has a calf strain, so I lowered Kirk just because I was so high on him, but I feel really good about the Kirk bags, and I do think Debo could go higher. Yeah, and I'm expecting this. I just watched Nabers go at 22 at DK. I'm expecting on DK, he's going to go in the second a lot, right? DK, there's probably some 6th round Nabers and there's some 5th round, right? Like, I don't know what's going on with Underdog where you can't really scroll all your old drafts on mobile right now, but I labeled one just so we could look at it on stream. I got 4th round Nabers last week. So last week, I went JSN, double elite tight end, Bowers, McBride, and then got Nabers at 44. So it's not like I don't have some teams with him at cheap cost, and I'm okay having like whatever it is, 6%, 5% Nabers, but it being all 4th round. God, on desktop, this is difficult to find the BBM. In fact, I don't see it at all. Shout out Fantasy Point. Appreciate a lot you writing up the players. Make sure you guys give him a follow. Here we go. Okay, where are we at here? Wow, late 4th Garrett Wilson. I mean, Garrett Wilson actually, there are some players I didn't expect to make it into Brandon's article because I was like, when I think of the injured guys, I'm thinking guys of like actively coming off injury. But he wrote up like AJ Brown and CMC. Garrett Wilson also coming off injury, but his injury was so early in the season. It was like week 10. And yeah, I'm typically care about offense guy, but I find myself drafting a lot of these Cardinals and Jets. So what do you guys think happens with Nabers? I'm almost positive he's going to snowball. And like on a stream draft, I'm not expecting to get him here. But yeah, I'll probably this middle of the 3rd, I'll just act to get some of him, particularly in week 17 stacks before it gets out of hand. Chesskid.com. Malik Nabers is a shipper. See, this is how a lot of people think in best ball. Like they're just like, oh my God, nothing else matters. Like Malik Nabers or bust. And okay, in half point PPR, what's a good Neighbor season? He's going to be around 14.5 points per game, maybe 15. Guess who else will be? T. Higgins. So I will remain measured and just realize that there's other very good bets to make that do not have injury concerns. And I think if Neighbors goes up to the 2nd, the downside becomes pretty evident still. Pretty happy to get Toot in here. A guy who remains one of the easiest picks to make as far as like a league winner. Of course, there's downside with Tootin, but the league winning upside is high for him. Well, I'm sure other content. Yeah, this is how it's going to snowball. Zach St. Chip Chasing said people should chase up Neighbors, and that they will or should or whatever. I don't know. I didn't listen to it, but other people are talking about Neighbors, ETR, them. I'm sure all these people are going to be like, yeah, go ahead, go get Neighbors. You're hearing it, you're seeing it in drafts. It's going to snowball, right? I don't think things have changed that drastically for him. Of course, him running routes on day one that came unexpected to me, right? But I don't think it means that he's going to be fully himself. Well, I think the Rashee Rice discussion is interesting. Yeah, and love Davis, but someone like him is not going to be measured with this stuff. He's going to be the guy trying to make wild jumps, right? But I think Rashee Rice is an interesting discussion for Neighbors because Rashee Rice missed a lot of time, yet still felt like a great pick. And so even if Neighbors missed a lot of time, if he's Neighbors, well, that's a great pick, right? Yeah, I think stuff like this remains fine, right? Like if you're pulling up Nabers specifically because you're like, oh, I want a Nabers and Gibbs team. Sure, go for it, right? That's the same thing as me pulling up T. Higgins, right? And ultimately, there's not going to be that many teams with Nabers 4-5 Gibbs. There are some, but not that many. Once it becomes Nabers at pick like 19, 18, 17, which we could be going there, that's a big no for me. What was his ADP before everyone got cautious? He was still, I mean, we can let's just spot check my last like 5 BBMs. Do I think Jeremiah Love will keep sliding? I mean, this is just kind of where he's gone all draft season. It's like the quarterback wall. I don't feel like doing today. Today I'm going to pull up Jaylen Warren. I clicked through some of my old DK drafts and Underdog, and Jaylen Warren was going in the like hundreds early on. I have so many Jaylen Warren in the hundreds. Oh, yeah, his ADP, Nabers ADP before he slid, he was going at like the 1-2 turn and slowly fell throughout. Yeah, let's just look at my last so all these BBMs would be before Nabers clip of him running routes. So this one was like this morning at some time. Nabers went 29. This one's probably yesterday. Nabers went 33. This one was, I don't know. Nabers went 34. This one has Nabers going 32. So a pretty tight band on Underdog, and you can basically expect a full round later on DK. And I almost think the Nabers went 37. So basically late third, and now he's going to go middle. And if you give it some time, like I need the thinking players out there to remember how this works. Think of let's just rip Dak here. Think of Travion Henderson last year. And there's countless other examples. Travion Henderson, it started to snowball with him. He was a 5-6 turn pick, and he was going at the 2-3 turn at times. Didn't work out for him. Nabers is going to go up in price, unquestionably. But should he? That's the question. Yeah, ultimately, like I'd be comfortable somewhere around 8% Nabers, just like at field. And if I had 5 to 6% in the fourth, then I'm not even stressing it because it's like, okay, I got whatever 10 or so teams with him at the biggest discount. Hopefully they're the best, you know? I just don't think this is happening this year this much. What if training camp news opens up players that you couldn't have drafted earlier? You know, like Demario Douglas got some buzz. So, okay, pop Douglas. The Dolphins wide receiver room. Okay. But we're probably just not going to get a starting running back to come out of nowhere. Yeah, I do think, I mean, I raised Stribling, but I do think the buzz is like gonna like at the end of the day, Stribling could just be Matt Collins. People need to realize like he could just be this like big blocking wide receiver. I've drafted Stribling throughout and will be, but I'm not going to chase him up wildly. Yep. Godwin. Team right now, Dak, Toot and Warren, Amon-Ra, Pickens, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Trey McBride. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is Nabers taking hits, doing this for a full game, doing this week in and week out. Again, I do think the market is going to be more excited about Nabers than I ultimately will be. Like, I'm going to get some in the third, but I'm just being honest. I still don't feel like fantastic about it. And you know what the great thing is, folks? If you feel differently, you can do what you want. If you want to try to get 100% Nabers, no one's stopping you. No one is stopping you. I lowered Ricky Pearsall to the like Khalil Shakir range of drafts. I already had talent concerns with him, but yeah, I have him ranked right now at 135. And honestly, I could see him going lower than that. Yeah, every year we see players get minor injuries. Another player that comes to mind is Jordan James, rib injury, and then Matter. Stu Gainwell. I like Fannin more than Gainwell, but I have McBride. Running back dries up. Kenny Gainwell is like probably my highest drafted player. Ricky might be getting surgery that's season ending. Well, that's why I tanked him 40 spots. Obviously, it's a fragile bet still. Be sure to like and subscribe, folks. August, the biggest month. We're slowly climbing here. What's the word on Tyrone Tracy? I mean, I would read that free article I just told you about. Recent verbiage from the Giants via an Athletic article was like, no one knows how it's going to shake out between the running back pecking order, and the Giants are probably going to add a running back, which that's not the best news for Cam Scatterbo out there. Brandon Ayuk playing for the 49ers would be so funny. I think Debo now seems way more likely there. Let's do JCM. I do think the running backs just dry up quicker than the wide receivers. So like that's a spot like when I see like a bunch of running backs there, then I go Myers and Co. But when I don't, that's when I typically go JCM, who I like. JCM did come at the cost of getting Baker. Of course, I have Godwin and Gainwell, so Baker would have been nice, but didn't get him. Goff also went to a naked drafter, so perhaps a sign of more casual drafters coming. Unstacked Herbert and Goff. All I see with the 49ers now is Mike Evans smashing. I mean, I've been there the whole way, so. Yeah, I maintain that Stribling is a fine pick, but he could just be Matt Collins as far as like a blocking guy. I never really thought Debo would return to the 49ers, but a Pearsall season-ending injury certainly would change that. Pearsall did go 105 in this draft, but that news dropped today, so I would expect that to be a bit of a slow burn. Sure. Dalton Kincaid. Just like the talent bet with Kincaid more than Ferg, despite the stack. Build a lot of teams like this, I would say. Get 4 wideouts to feel good about. Fill in the running backs. Get some other positions. Yeah, hard to say if the Kayshon Boutte stuff is because they want to trade him or if he's just balling out, you know? If you had to put a stat line on Malik Nabers right now, what would you do? I think I would do like 1,000 yards, 4.5 touchdowns, which that is like, you know, Olave is going to be around that. T's going to be around that. I would not do 1,700 yards and 12 touchdowns. I'm sure a lot of this got removed today. Whatever. This is how DraftKings are going to operate, though. 15 touchdowns. Okay. I'll figure out quarterback, I guess. Stephon Diggs. We've got to be like a week or two away from him signing. Not the cleanest quarterback stacks for me as far as a QB 2 and 3. Of course, Geno's out there. I took Geno in the 18th round earlier today, so he really falls sometimes. Aaron Rodgers is out there. Maybe some back stacks. I made Skylar Bell a little more rankable as well. Stayed late and with Josh Allen. I'm sure a lot of guys did, but you know, like the tweet you will read will be like Skylar Bell getting practice with Josh Allen, you know, or getting work with Josh Allen after practice. And someone who just takes that at face value will be like, oh, wow, Josh signaled out Skylar. It's him and Skylar. Where the reality of that is probably Skylar Bell and Keon Coleman and DJ Moore. Like a lot of guys stayed after practice and worked with them. I don't know if I'd love Stephon Diggs in Atlanta. That could happen. Yeah, I would expect this. Most of the lines are off for Nabers. It's usually just what happens. Wow. Okay. So is that guy autoing or building a terrible team? Tough to say. We'll figure it out later. Sure. Travis Hunter got work at practice as a wide receiver today. So this guy had to take Mayfield naked. Malik Willis, which is fine naked, and he correlates with DJ Moore. Darnold stacked. And then Daniel Jones just to starve the room. I am more optimistic on Geno than most. I end up drafting him quite a bit. What did Crack Rock say? No offense to Crack Rock, but I don't really view him as like a true news reporter. Here's the skinny. Let's start with the QB. Jackson Dart is being coached up to protect himself. They want him to run and play like Mahomes. On scatter mode, they believe he is their workhorse. Unleash the beast. They know injury lurks. They think very highly of Tyron Tracy. Isaiah Likely remains the sleeper. Isaiah Likely is like one of my least favorite picks on the board. Everyone is drooling to get more info on injury. This is what I was told. The ACL has progressed nicely. It is the meniscus part that is proving the most vexing and why the second procedure had to be done. But he is on his way to start week 1. They recently signed another 10 wide receivers was to be prepared if he was going to miss multiple weeks, but that is not the case. Okay. Let's do Trey Tucker with a plan. Team right now: Dak, Tootin, Warren, Gainwell, Krosky-Mare, Amon-Ra, Pickens, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Diggs, Hunter, Trey Tucker, McBride, Kincaid. You know, it's like from that Crack Rock stuff, like did anything, what was newsworthy there? Yeah, tough news, Pearsall bag holders. Honestly, if Christian Kirk did not strain his calf, I would have been feeling like $1 million. I had Christian Kirk rank in the 180s just because this whole time I viewed Kirk, Pearsall, and Stribling as this ambiguous trio that I thought any could come out on top of. And I still think that way. Obviously, I feel way worse about Pearsall. And so, yeah, I think Kirk, even with the strained calf, if he can be healthy, why couldn't he be the wide receiver too? This is something else to understand. Someone out there has 15% Nabers, and what do they want to have happen? They want the price to go way up. They feel like they already won the contest. If only it was so easy. Okay. We're going to do Mendoza here to stack with Trey Tucker and Trey McBride. One of my favorite gross games to stack up for week 17. I'm not slowing down on round 18 Kirk. I mean, I'm still drafting him from time to time too. I did lower him in my ranks, but still ahead of market. And I'm quite happy to have quite a bit of him. Couple different ways I could finish this build. Antonio Williams is a player I have almost none of. Just feels quite obvious the Commanders are going to end up with someone. I even saw some Traylon Burke hype. Okay, so the most casual drafter almost certainly is this guy. Although he did stack Geno with Cooper. So my fault, sir. Yeah, but the other guys are unstacked. So I was planning to go Geno, and I think in some rooms I get him as the third QB. So I was going to build this 3 QB with like Fernando Mendoza maybe being a 0 to start. Still might. Probably just going to live with my wide receiver bets. But we'll see here. And then, yeah, probably add some more juice at running back. Hard to say exactly who will be a difference maker at the end of drafts at running back, but there will be some guys. Okay, Jacoby Brissett goes. So that I think is actually the dream of 3 QB is over, which is fine. All right, let's just, you know what? Screw it. Jordan James hurt his ribs. So he's going to be out like 2 to 3 weeks. That doesn't bother me at all. Sure. Dak could be the guy. Still think I would build this team as 3 QB. Like I was planning to go 3-6-7-2. Because obviously good enough at tight end, good enough at wide out, running back. Definitely need some bodies in there. And then I think I had the luxury to go 3 QB, but I don't need to. I can just live with Dak and whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't lie. The Pearsall bags would. I fortunately have almost no Pearsall at all. No. Oh, in the Eliminator and Drafters, I think Nabers still is a bad pick. Especially in the Eliminator, like not getting points potentially weeks like 1 through 3. Or if Nabers could play week 1 and run 10 routes, that doesn't do anything for you. Why not? Let's do double 49er backup today. When I combine Jordan James and Kalen Black into one player, hopefully I get something. Definitely a spot where if Kalen Black is not showing out, wouldn't be that surprising to see the 49ers add a guy there. The other dude who's on the team still and has shown something in the past is Isaac Garendo. What if? I would personally not be like, I'm not doing the Kirk Mendoza combo unless like I'm really desperate and I just need to guarantee a starting QB. You know, like in my QB room is like Deshaun, Shadur, Kirk, and Mendoza type of thing. But no, I wouldn't do it here and be like, oh, let me guarantee Raiders QB. This may shock you, but I'm okay risking a $25 team not advancing when the goal is for me to win $2 million. Okay, so what am I going to do with this last pick? And then we're going to do a DK Millie Maker. Curious where Nabers goes in this one. Might get him at pick 34. Could see him going at pick 20. How over is it for Ayuk? I still think it's like a 50-50. I've lowered him to like not be draftable that often, but if I had 0, I still would be drafting some. Do I want to do Deshaun Watson? No, not really. Okay. Dontavian Wicks. Just a value here, I think. Dak, Mendoza, Toot and Warren, Gainwell, Krosky Merritt, James and Black, Lawyer and Co. Amon-Ra, Pickens, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Diggs, Hunter, Trey Tucker, Wicks, McBride, and Kincaid. It's a little light at QB, but I've been drafting like Mendoza's going to do something this year, and I think that despite the rhetoric out of the Raiders, which is Kirk is our guy all season, that almost never happens. Let's turn this hat backwards, hide the dog logo. Shout out DraftKings for sponsoring this channel. I do think Ayuk is live too. The Commanders GM was basically like, yeah, we typically don't care about social media posts usually. Now, Ayuk Bears, which Ayuk is an easy guy to hate on, they're going to point to that and be like, oh, he is dead. Yeah, that's the thing. I have a lot of Ayuk, but even though I have a lot of Ayuk, most of the teams that I drafted him on, especially in the high stakes, I built it so that if he's a 0, it doesn't hurt me. Like a lot of my 5-5-5 teams with Ayuk, they have like 9 wide receivers. So carrying a 0 there just doesn't even matter. Thoughts on Judy? Yeah, I think things are ambiguous enough in the Browns wide receiver room that any of them could be it. And Diggs goes where? I mean, I kind of think Diggs is going to be a commander, which is not music to Ayuk's ears, but that would be my current number one guess. Maybe the 49ers swoop in and they're like, hey, Stephon, we need you, dude. Oh my God. Travis Etienne just went at pick 14, giving me my first of the year Cook Genty combo. Let's go. God bless. God bless August. I love the injury experts commenting on, like, this guy just wrote, we're a month and a half away from week 1. He's only going to get better every day. The explosiveness will come back for Nabers. Okay, Giants fan. Should have been me. In the eliminator, I'm getting like, I got Jefferson and Lamb. I got Lamb and Genty. They hate the wide receivers in the eliminator. So yeah, I went and entered another 50 slow drafts in the eliminator. So doing at least 100 slow, because roughly I'm halfway done BBM and DK, the mains. Plus I still have a lot of drafters. So looking like at least 400 drafts for me in August, of which I'll do some slow, probably, especially if the slow drafters are going to give me like Lamb and Jefferson combos. You know, like who are the scaredest drafters? They're probably in slows. They need all 8 hours to get all their news. Can't draft this guy, can't draft that guy. Nabers went 2-3 turn. It's fine to take him there. This is acceptable to me. But I guarantee you we're going to see some Nabers 1-2 turn. You are banned. Thoughts on the Ricky Pearsall news? I tanked him in my ranks and might be tanking him even more. He has the potential to be a full 0 this year. Be aware of that. T. Higgins, wideout 1, feels great for a Cook Genty team. I'm so happy I did this second draft right now. This guy just went Caleb Williams. This guy, seat of my pants here. The one thing I'll give him is he's building a unique team. Henry, ETN, Caleb Williams. How do you feel about Marvin Harrison Jr.? I have way more Michael Wilson and Trey McBride. I take some Marvin, but could be done for him. Brees Hall and Kyron, some nice value for this guy. I mean, I have very little Zay, and this feels really good. I get a week 17 game stack of Bengals, Ravens. Potentially, I'm going to get Lamar at 5'10". And yeah, this type of thing you can't really plan for as far as being gifted uniqueness. But we do know, all else equal, these types of drafters show up in August more often than May. So basically, if you just draft between now and the end of the contest, you're going to get in lobbies with these guys. I mean, I have no idea, but to me, this team will not be thrown out. I think drafts that get thrown out are like someone in round 1 goes Ricky Person. In round 2, they go Tom Brady. In round 3, they go Jordan James. In round 4, they go George Halani, like that type of thing. $300 of you hanging out with me. Let's go, guys. Can we get that number to 500 in August? 300 live viewers for a channel with not even 9K subs. Let's go. No bot subs on this channel, obviously. I might go Lamar and Burrow if they're both there. Lamar 5'10", Burrow 6'3". Either this drafter is going to take Lamar just so I don't get it, or I'm going to get it. Okay. Or the Josh Allen drafter does. This happens too. Does this bump up Mike Evans half a round? I mean, that'd be good for my bags because I'm fully packed, but I don't really see it happening. I think people will just remain wary of a older guy. Who's on the Tua train with me? Objectively, the saddest player you could come into the chat and try to rally behind. Someone out there. Give him a Tua. Rawr. Sure. Like Christian Watson a lot. This guy knows ball. Goes Parker Washington. He understands that Parker Washington, 50% advance rate. You can start however you want. Yeah, I agree. That shouldn't get thrown out. That guy isn't cheating. He thinks he's being smart. I agree. Like he thinks he knows more than us. Tua, oh. I mean, using this board, I'd rather have George Pickens than Nabers. I'd rather have T. Higgins than Nabers. I'd rather have Olave. I think it becomes a discussion at Egbuka. Now, I'm expecting Abo to go Joe Burrow here. You got to know your audience. But I'm going to go, oh, he goes Metcalf. Woof. Can't guess him. Man, I don't like passing on Henderson, Tate, Bucky. I like these guys a lot, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to win the game I'm playing, and the game is not. And it's really easy to fall into this trap if you're a good drafter of like, let me get value. Let me target league winners, right? Like Henderson was a value there. Joe Burrow is not a value here. But ultimately, what's my easiest path to winning $3 million? Well, it's Joe Burrow to have T. Higgins score 40, both of them like combined for 80 points, and Zay Flowers smashing in the bring back. I've built for that. Now let's draft like it. We're live, man. We're only a month away from football. Look, dude, someone's on the Tua train with you. Tua's had some bad luck. He's really not that bad. That counts as a vouch, kind of. So sometimes on these, I will just scoop the value. I'll go Henderson, Bucky, and just try to build super teams. But especially this drafter, like when you have a wild card, this guy could be a 5 QB drafter, I would kill for Browns versus Titans right now. Oh, God. The beautiful thing about best ball is there are drafts for everyone's bankroll. You can get a lot of volume down in $1 drafts. Stafford going way higher than ADP here. I'm going to guess that this guy goes Mahomes as well. I pick 73. Got to know your audience here. Stafford straight up ahead of Hurts, Daniels. Like Where did this Swisha guy come from? Well, he either listened to like JJ Zacharyson or the footballers or someone big, and they mentioned stacking in best ball. He drafted Puka, and he's like, okay, I got a stack. Stafford, let's go. Come on, dude. Go Mahomes. You got Rice. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm really good at guessing my audience. I won the 3K draft on DK one year. It was a 2K draft then. But I haven't entered it the past couple of years. Just kind of like run out of time. So maybe. I'm pretty low on Flowers as well, but very happy to get it in a game stack. I like both the Bucks running backs. Now, I'm making fun of this guy a little bit, but I actually think it's good to do what he's doing on occasion simply for the unique combo idea, right? Where almost all of the Stafford teams are going to be pick 94, not so much on DK. Why not get a Stafford at 70 and a natural round 8 player? Okay. We'll buy the Q dip on Ramondre here. Obviously, he's dipping because he left practice throwing up. Almost certainly is fine, but he's falling in drafts because of that. Gives me a really good running back room of Cook, Genty, Stevenson. Kyle Pitts is around reach too. So yeah, this guy's just reaching on most players by a round other than Metcalf. I mean, Fannin goes around higher here too. So we're a little bit in the twilight zone, and that's okay. Harvey's risky. When I have such a good team, I don't like to draft risky guys, but whatever. It's just hard for me not to draft a guy like RJ Harvey when Blake Corum goes literally right next to him in drafts. I understand the contingent upside for Blake Corum, but I mean, let's just look at these game logs. 20 points, 24, 16, 21, 22, 22, 19, 12 real playoffs, 10 real playoffs, or Super Bowl. 10 points in the Super Bowl, 6 targets, 4 catches in the Super Bowl. So unless he just is a stone zero because it's all J.K. Dobbins, all Jonah Coleman, I think he's a value. No love for Mekhi. I mean, I don't hate Mekhi, but I certainly do not want to have 100% of him on DK, which you easily could. Yeah, like the stream, guys, please. Helps the algorithm. I thought about Sutton as well. Sorry, the AFC Championship is what I meant. If I was drafting one team, I would rather have RJ Harvey if we're talking about at cost. Cam Scatterbo goes in the 4th round. RJ Harvey goes in the 8th round. Yeah, I was considering Sutton as well, but like a lot of the wide receivers at the 9-10, like usually I can get Michael Wilson there. So decided to play it this way. Don't mind going like Sutton and Gainwell either. Lehman, minute 72 of the stream. You said to Super Bowl when you clearly meant the conference championship. Do you care to explain this blunder? Let's go. I love the Jackson dart bet. I like the dart bet because the man runs the football. Wow. See, this guy knows ball. Kincaid. Can you give me a Ray Davis bull case? If James Cook got hurt, he would be the running back. Potentially, he might be the running back week 17, depending how the season goes or that game. I do have Christian Watson, but I think I'll be going Wan'Dale Robinson. A pretty comfy fourth wide receiver on DraftKings especially. Dude straight up bald. Like, I think the wide receivers people think of most when it comes to like unexpected balling are Parker Washington and Michael Wilson. But Wan'Dale is not far behind. And this man was winning deep down the field as well. Target totals of 14, 10, 14, 11, 11. So, yeah, the Titans don't make me warm and fuzzy inside, but Wan'Dale does. I like these quarterbacks a lot too. Dart and Purdy. I don't know what this is. Chris Sims? I don't listen to Chris Sims podcast. So, if I had to stop at 2 QBs with Burrow and Dart, I would be fully comfortable there. Honestly, if I had to stop at 4 running backs with Cook, Genty, Stevenson, Harvey, I'd be comfortable there as well. Got a good basis at wide receiver with Higgins, Flowers, Watson, Wan'Dale. Almost certainly will go a 5th running back. Maybe not any more than that. Could be a 4 tight end build depending on how that shakes out. Might add a 3rd QB depending if like a clean stack falls to me, but stressed if I don't. Should a team who plays near substation have a 55-man roster? How a team or how players get their points is so important. In redraft, you want a safe floor and ceiling. In best ball, ceiling guys have so much more EV than floor guys. Yeah, I mean, this is why I'm so low on Tony Pollard, because I just don't think Tony Pollard has that many spikes in him, right? So Tony Pollard giving you a bunch of 8 to 10 point games is not good for best ball. Add Carson Beck? Absolutely not. I have like a super rare Cook Genty start, and you want me to ruin it with Carson Beck, future insurance salesman? No. Yeah. If a Pollard fade is how we lose, so be it. The only thing I'll get, like, Titans, Steelers, it's like a worse version of Raiders, Cardinals, where it's like, yeah, two probably bad teams. We did just see Ricky Pearsall go. I like Malik Willis a lot as a third QB. I'm going to do Terrence Ferguson first. Gives me correlation with Dart, and he's just a player I like at tight end. Gives me a first tight end to feel good about. Detractors of him would probably say, like, what's the difference between him and Hunter Henry? But I'm not a detractor of him. I'm the guy who hopes to get some of this 17, 22, 24, 22. Malik Willis goes, is what it is. Tracy Stacks, pretty strong at running back, though. It is the end of a tier. Whatever, I'm going to do Diggs this time. I think I just do that too often. Like, too often I click the Rodriguez Tracy marks because it's like the clear end of a tier to me. But I just like the Diggs bet. Jake Ferguson. Did I say Terrence? I don't know. I think I just said Ferguson, but I don't know. Cam Ward, obviously I could have stacked him with Wandale, but I'm not going to do that at cost on a Dart Burrow team. Well, obviously Lamb missed a lot of time last year, so it's a little difficult to make the calculus work in straight points, but, you know, it's best ball. We don't got to predict when the Ferguson weeks come, just that they do. Wow, almost 400 watching. Do me a favor, guys. Like, subscribe, join the Discord. Link is below. Beatbestball.com. I just pushed through updated ranks and a free article where I had an injury guy give his opinions on the injured players, and I added color. That article's for free. So my squad right now is Cook, Genty, Higgins, Flowers, Watson, Burrow, Stevenson, Harvey, Dart, Wandale, Ferguson, and Diggs. Come on, guys. Even the audio listeners, let's give it a courtesy like. Yeah, Judkins, I wrote up in the article. Injury experts are optimistic on him. I'm mostly fading still for other reasons outside of just pure. I mean, one, it's kind of insane. The dude got hurt week 16, so very late in the year. I think you can only like it once, and if you like it again, you're unliking it. Thank you, sir. Oh, I have a big feeling this is Kincaid's year. At the same time, I think DJ Moore, like, some people are just like proudly fading DJ Moore. And I can't think of, like, that just sounds dumb in best ball. You don't have to know when DJ Moore is going to have some big games. I'm confident he's going to have some big games, though. And there seems to be some evidence, which, you know, don't love this, but it seems to be some evidence he was just dogging last year on the Bears. Like, he was over it. Gotta add the did you like poll that Flock does. That's a genius idea by the GOAT. We'll start doing that in August. Eric All. Yeah, I one of the re-rankings I did to my, or reworking of my rankings I did is moving around the late round tight ends. And Paul is rankable. I don't know how it's gonna shake out exactly, but do I want a risky guy like Hunter on such a fast start team? Sure. I do think Trey Tucker makes sense there too. Further bet on the Raiders. But I'm a little light on Hunter, and he's kind of a best ball guy. All right, polls up. I feel like there's a lot of points in the drafts where there's a lot of players I would like to add, and I can't have them all. Like, just at this point in the draft, like, I would like Sadiq. I would like Dylan Sampson. I would like Tajay Spears. I would like Trey Tucker. Can't have them all. I'm going to do Trey Tucker this time. Feel strong at running back. Always love to do running back wide receiver correlation. Unfortunate injury for Chris Brazzell, but like, I've told this story before, but I think it bears reminding. The year Jeff Wilson, the year I won Best Ball Mania 2, around like June or July, Jeff Wilson Jr. got hurt. And so how did drafters treat him? They stopped drafting him. I, however, would mix Jeff Wilson Jr. in to the point where he was on my winning BBM2 team, drafted in, well, actually, I drafted it in June. So yeah, he got hurt in like June. And like the reporting was like, he's going to miss the first 3 months of the season. And I was like, well, that's not a big deal. He'll be playing late and he'll be low owned. So I started drafting, whatever. Probably ended up with like 10 or so teams of him. And people were not drafting him at all anymore. And what happened? Well, he returned from injury and he ended up being like the starter down the stretch. And I mean, my running back scored so well week 16, it didn't matter, but he put up like a 18-point game at 0% ownership. So Chris Brazzell, Jordan James, like all these guys who have been banged up, it's not over for them. It is certainly not over for them. But yeah, I don't think Leggett is a good click regardless. Yeah, like Leggett getting good buzz, that sounds more like the team wants to trade him. I am guessing that we're going to get just worse info about Pearsall. If we don't, I'll take some of him. But he's like a player I'm going to wait a day or two to get some info on, you know? Might end up getting some of the other players I wanted at this turn additionally, which always feels really good. Have I watched the Marvin Harrison Jr. clips of what? His tight back or him dropping the ball? Which one? Be more specific. Jonathan Mingo getting buzzed for Dallas. Jonathan Mingo, man, that's a name I have not heard for a minute. So yeah, I get Dylan Sampson here, which is a very comfy fifth running back to be done with for me. I like the Sampson bet. He's used in the passing game. Judkins is not. Provided several weeks last year. Browns should be trailing in passing. Has outs to the Judkins injury being more serious. Wow, Tyreek Hill. Stunned at that. Ty Johnson won't be a zero. There are a lot of players not being drafted who will score some points this year. You know, like off the top of my head, Ty Johnson, Marvin Mims. You know, like these are guys that are going to score some points. They're not the biggest upside swings necessarily. Okay, cool. I get to go tight end here. Really no correlation difference. So I like Barner still a little bit more than Terrence Ferguson. I think the Barner upside is big time. A fantastic second tight end. Demario Douglas, he might score a lot of points. The rumor is that he's been a consistent mainstay in the top three wideouts for the Pats. I have one Demario Douglas team. Two dudes are on auto draft. Of course, the guy who started Derrick Henry and ETN is now on auto. These guys are the most likely to go on auto. The wild drafters. This guy also on auto draft, the Josh Allen, Lamar, Jared Goff team. So 4 more rounds to play with here. Unquestionably going to get a third tight end. So that leaves 3 spots. Probably no reason not to take 2 wide receivers with them. And then the question becomes, what do I want that last pick to be? Do I want it to be a 6th running back? Do I want it to be a 3rd quarterback? Or do I want it to be a 4th tight end? I think all are on the table. If I was someone who had a ton of Nabers in the 4th round, such as you, like 15%, yeah, I just don't see why you would take him at the 2-3 turn, which he's going to go. That seems like a pretty clear, like, okay, I made my bed. Time to draft someone else. Even as someone who doesn't have as much 4th round Nabers as you, I'm not going to be jamming him there. The draft reactions to any news is insane. My last draft, Tua went late 20th and 20th round. Kirk went with the last pick. Yeah, people they're desperate. They want something to cling on to. I have strong intuition, so A lot of this stuff is just falling into place. The Nabers thing? Okay, that was not my intuition. Tayshaun Boutte going in the 17th off of good news. Wouldn't hate going Gesicki and Eric All. Maybe that's what I'll do. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's go Gesicki first. Probably push the eliminator and drafters ranks. I thought I was moving tomorrow. I'm moving Friday, so I'm in the middle of a move, but I will have eliminator and drafters ranks at least by Monday. But it's not going to change too much at the top of drafts, I would imagine. And always toggle to ADP or look at my underdog and DK ones, but we'll have them soon. I'm actually in 100 slows. Is the office bigger? I'm actually not quite sure of the square footage. As someone who's been drafting a lot of Dart, maybe the Nabers news even helps me if it helps Dart. Okay. I think this should clearly be a wide out. Who we going today? What's yet another Christian Kirk team? If Christian Kirk is back at practice next week and Ricky Pearsall his season is over, where is Kirk going in drafts? Ask yourself that. I get this, the Christian Watson thing, playing the Texans, but think of who smashed the Texans a couple times last year. Alec Pierce, whose game is similar to Alec Pierce, Christian Watson. Am I fading the Cards backfield? I mean, Jeremiah Love is one of my highest drafted guys. We do have 3 drafters on auto right now. One of my wide receivers is going to be a Giant. Slayton, Mooney, Fields, doesn't matter. And then Eric All is the hope. Not really that stressed about people sniping that. Let's actually try to read up on Darius Slayton or something. About Malachi Fields. Any news out there? Not really. I mean, it's crazy that there's not just like a clear place to go where it's like, this is who ran with the first team today. There's so many people at these practices. Why do we have to read all this dribble to try to find this? Okay. Missed out on Mooney and Fields from this guy. Maybe he's retaliating against me. I took Christian Kirk, and he's a Purdy drafter, and he said, oh, yeah? How about Mooney and Fields? Little does he know, I love Darius Slayton. James Conner, dude, he looks so big next to the coach. And I've been thinking that he should be still being drafted. So, like, the fact that he's at practice is huge for him. Okay. Team finishes up 2-5-9-4. Cook, Genty, Stevenson, Harvey, and Dylan Sampson at running back. So we've made our bed with 5 running backs, really 4 of them rather highly drafted. Higgins, Flowers, Watson, Wandale, Diggs, Travis Hunter, Trey Tucker, Christian Kirk, and Darius Slayton. Some high-end options here, some spike week dudes. Joe Burrow and Dart at QB. 2 dudes I like. Ferguson, Barner, Gesicki, and Eric all at tight end. So ended up with 2 of probably the funnest games to have a Week 17 game stack for. Bengals and Ravens and Giants and Cowboys. I like it. Of course, these decisions late where it's like Kirk, Slayton. It's always tough to know if you're making the right decision there. Maybe Keon's better. Maybe Fields is better. Maybe Thornton's better. Maybe Bryant's better. Maybe Ted Hurst is better. Maybe blah, 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 blah. Eric All over Theo Johnson. Yeah, I wanted to do the Gesicki and Eric All stack. I mean, both stack. And I have more Theo. Okay, folks. Appreciate you tuning in. I will be live tomorrow. I recorded a big dog I drafted yesterday. That will be dropping Friday. Unsure if I will be streaming on Friday because I am moving. But maybe I'll fire up one late at night. Speaking of the big dog, I'm in a lobby. It's 9 of 12 filled. If we could snap fill it, I'd stay on. Can we? I'm hungry. I'm not going to lie. I don't know where my trophy is. I'm hungry and tired. The greater continental United States. All right, let me tweet about it. Retweet my tweet if you follow me on Twitter. I'll post in my Discord too. Now we need 2. All right, this bad boy's going to fill. It's going to fill. Let's make some eliminator picks while we wait. Chase Pickens, Jeremiah Love, sure. JSN. Trey McBride. Saquon, Jacobs, Lamb, Olave. Chase Brown. Jamar Chase. Cook, Achane. Let's do T. Higgins. Ken Walker, St. Brown, Josh Allen. It might have just filled. So I've been juggling Mike Evans versus Tet. We'll do Mike there. We'll do Tet this time. Let's do Nico this time. Seems crazy to me. It goes on 10-hour pick clock for these slows. Like way too early. Sure. DJ Moore. Let's do 2 in. Gibbs and we got double picks here. Let's go Rasheed Rice and T. Higgins. Hashtag unique. Jefferson, London. Jacobs and T. Jamar Chase. Let's go Taylor today. Let's go ETN. T. Big Mike. Big Mike. Jamar Chase. Run the clock again. Pickens and Javonte. Double Cowboys. Oh, big dog filled. McBride. All right. Now I just got to find the big dog amongst 100 eliminators. Easy game. Control F. Big dog. All right. We're drafting a big dog right now. Our viewership went down by 100 people because they thought I was signing off. Little did they know we got a $300 big dog. Now, people have been getting crazy about running backs. Let me tag the Discord. Let them know. And I know this Renegades guy is a freak about running backs, so this is a $500 draft. Yeah, a couple staples in here. This is Pat Crane. This is Shady. This is Renegades. They're in most of these. Not Pat as much, but Shady and Renegades is. Overtime Liam. Today I wrote an article, updated 2 ranks, and now we're drafting. And someone out there probably went into a coal mine. Now that person is actually tired. Still 300 of us hanging out. What's my biggest point of advice at this point in the season? Don't let fear rule your decisions. We're back on Underdog, and that means, of course, the dog logo front and center. Don't think I've gone James Cook yet. Let's go James Cook. It also helps that I like Cook, and a lot of these dudes, Shady, Renegades, they try to get like 85 running backs. In a typical season, I invest anywhere from like $1.5 to $2.5 million, and I try to return a 3% ROI. See, if I didn't laugh at that, people would be like, really? Wow, look at this dude. See, he listens. I can tell he's listening. He's like, oh, you think I only go running backs? How about Lamb London? Give me Genty. Almost certainly never, but... Oh, Jay List, I know this guy too. Come on, dude. You like Hampton? Never. Absolutely never was that going to happen. Oh. Go Chase Brown today. I've been going A-Chain a lot. God, man. Why couldn't I be pick 10? It's just rare in a big dog to see someone go Saquon, Ken Walker. And then this dude got mind melded by me saying he always drafts a certain way. Renegades in this one. London, Achan, Etienne, Javante. Always goes Gainwell. Always goes RJ Harvey. Gainwell, White. Shady went. Walker, Jacobs, Bucky, Chuba, and stopped. How about this one? Shady went Brees, Montgomery, Pollard, Stevenson, and stopped. Does this a lot. Renegades went Henderson, Chuba, Harvey, Gainwell, Tracy, Keaton, all running backs. So, yeah, a lot of similar builds that they're jamming in there. Probably what they think is optimal to advance. I'm a little bit more open-minded and flexible with that type of stuff. Ryan, dude, thanks for the super chat. I was in Big Dog with you yesterday. Wife called me just as I was on the clock at the 2-3 turn out of the 2-hole. She made me rush Olave pick, meant to pull up Ibuka. Maybe your wife helped you. You know, we all have the power to control our own mindset, right? Like my girl was driving the other day. She forgot something. She had to turn around. What did I tell her? Oh, an angel just saved your life. You would have gotten in a car accident, right? Positive thinking. My draft yesterday is going to go live on Friday, which I could have done for this too. I could have recorded this for the weekend, but why not? We got 300 people hanging out. I have very little Zay. He does correlate with Chase Brown week 17. It's only a 10-person final, though. Let's do Olave. Nabers goes 27 in this one. Certainly some exposure smoothing out happening there. Austin trip? Why would I be going to Austin? Do I usually take Olave there? No. I think I really like T. Higgins. He's like one of my favorite picks. I think he's just a little bit more exciting than Olave, but Olave certainly earned his flowers. Renegades, getting back to the old him. I'm not part of the ship chasing brand. As you can tell, I don't go on their streams every day, right? That would be like Jacob and Davis and them. Why not? 4th round Josh Allen. What's yet another Josh Allen? This is a lost season for Chris Brazzell now. No, I would not say that. Auto drafting will automatically draft off your own ranks and your position limits. Something to note for Underdog is position limits overrides queue. So you can leave a draft on auto and put whoever you want in the queue, but if it does not fit your position limits, you will not be given those players an Underdog. Now, Underdog is on a limb with that. On DK, it doesn't work like that. And I've reached out several times trying to get them to change it. I get that volume drafters might not want them to, but I still like, to me, it's upsetting on Underdog when I put a player in my queue and I'm not giving that player. Buying the Ricky Pearsall Dipperino? No, not really. Definitely want Josh Allen and another big dog. Also was with Cook. So yeah, I don't want like every combo like this, but that one was with Cook Achane. So it's different at least. This one I have a Cook and Chase Brown. God, man, this is... I've also reached out to them about segmenting the slow drafts and fast drafts, like just having 2 different tabs. What happened to Ricky Pearsall? It's injury to the same injury to his knee, basically. It's bad. It's bad. I don't know exactly, but it's bad. This guy tunes in. Thanks for subbing. I'm a contrarian drafter going against all the sheep and I win. And then he goes, anyways, what is this podcast? Another idiot drafting? Thanks for being here, dude. Wow. Do we think this was a Q mistake? So the 5th round operates way differently in the big dog than in any other lobby. Why not? DJ Moore to stack with Josh Allen and Cook? Hell yeah. But yeah, what I was going to say is in the big dog, how does the 5th round operate? Well, people, they get their running backs. They go Tootin, Irving, Judkins, Price. Like they are desperate to do it. I think it's a Q mistake too, but who knows? Renegades doing Renegades things. See, I just don't think Brock Purdy should be going 1 round later than Josh Allen. I know who I want here. Dang. That's who I wanted. Do a lot of P-Wash. I have almost no Rome. Are we going to mix it up here? I'm lower on Tyson too. Let's do Rome this time. I'm going to guess I did Parker Washington in that other one. It's another reason why I did, yeah. It's another reason I did Rome was just to try to desperately get different than my own teams. Specifically trying to not dupe myself. I wouldn't be upset with two teams in the finals that are the same, but, you know, want a little bit of variation. So the variation I have right now is Olave over T, Chase Brown over Achane, and Rome over Washington. So we've gotten different than my own team. Which one is Crane? Daily Rojo, the May drafter. Brother, get your fingers off the keyboard, okay? Just observe greatness and be wary that you've been given a gift. Okay? You've been given a gift here. You get to watch this best ball draft and learn something. I mean, people want to pretend that Josh Allen is like super overpriced compared to his peers, but like literally think of the 2v2s. This draft, this is like the cleanest 2v2 you can think of. Luther Burden and Jaden Daniels. Who do I have? Josh Allen and Rome Odunze. So literally, it's just Rome versus Luther, which is ambiguous. We all don't know how that turns out. And then I have the better quarterback, probably. Scatabo and May versus Josh Allen and Rome. Right? These are very clean 2v2s. Let's go RJ Harvey, mainly because why do I keep on getting network errors when I try to draft? Mainly because of a couple reasons. Number one, this room is obviously very running back heavy. And number two, this guy tries to go RJ Harvey in every draft. So I'm kind of curious what his backup plan is. He goes Gainwell always. I see. I like Gainwell too, but my Gainwell's in the 100s. So he's got good player takes, but he's not chill about it, you know? Stick to the ranks here. Godwin's got downside, but plenty of upside too. So the team is relatively balanced. Josh Allen, Cook, Chase Brown, Harvey, Olave, DJ Moore, Rome, and Godwin. I like it. Wow. Josh Allen straight up over Alec Pierce is rather egregious. Pat goes Brooks, and I was considering Brooks here just because I knew there was no chance I get him later. But ultimately, I'm comfortable with this Cook, Chase Brown, Harvey trio. Holding down the fort. Week 17 correlation is nice in this because it's a small final, but obviously it's 10 people, so. Yeah, I was a little curious how this sim-based drafter would adjust, because this is one of the weaker running back rooms I've seen him build, and it's pretty much just next guy up. Now, he likes to stop at 4. Is he going to stop at 4 with Montgomery, Irving, Corum, and Dobbins? I wouldn't. It could work, but I would not. I did take Jackson Dart on the other one I did of this. He's here, and I remain liking him. I'll do Kyle Pitts. I don't think I have almost no Kyle Pitts at all. Don't want that to be the case. And this is a pretty nice way to smooth out the exposure. Just get a share of him in the big dog. I'm going to guess that was an auto draft mistake. Purdy in the 5th. No, because the Mastiff is like $1,000. Well, first it's $100K this year. They've changed it. So maybe. I mean, I need to do so many lower dollar ones that ultimately just won't have the time to do every other one. Okay, I just think this is egregious. Like, giving me such a clean second quarterback bet to go with Josh Allen. I was kind of planning to go Jacoy Krosky-Merritt there just because I know I'm not getting him on the wrap. But when I can get a quarterback who, last year was just a consistent fantasy weapon from week 4 onwards when he started, 20 points, 18, 24, 29, 20, 27, 26, misses a game or two, 14, 23, 1, 25, 20. Especially, and I've been noticing he falls a lot, especially if people are confident Nabers is going to be a thing, then I think he should rise. I view Jackson Dart not too differently from like Jaden Daniels. Probably not as good a passer, but as far as like runs the football, that's what I'm drafting him for. Yes, can't forget the Olave Pitts correlation. Certainly possible that Chris Godwin falls off and it's McMillan instead, but I think it's on the table that Chris Godwin is an 1,000-yard wide receiver. I think it's just people are overconfident Jackson Dart is going to take a hit that injures him. Oh, didn't get Kincaid. Instead, I'll pull up, even though I like the tight ends more, I know I'm never getting Tracy. And this is like, for someone who pays attention like me, why do I know I'm never, ever getting Tracy on the wrap? Because this guy takes them every single time. So if this guy wasn't so predictable, I would have known I could have gotten different. But yeah, getting a fourth running back to feel legitimately good about, like Tracy, Annie stacks. Now I have both QB stacked with the running backs. I value Tracy a little bit less than some of the other players still out there, but I know if I want to get Tracy and these players, I need to take Tracy first. Like I like Jake Ferguson. I just don't really like Isaiah Likely. I guess I'll draft him, maybe. Feeling a little thin at wideout too. Coker goes though. I'm gonna take Goddard. Of course, Goddard is going to regress somewhat from scoring 11 touchdowns, a ton of those in close. And I drafted so much Goddard last year, so I was benefiting from that. But, A.J. Brown is also gone. So maybe we can expect closer to 800 yards. He just seems really cheap for a guy who just lost A.J. Brown on his team. And yeah, I'd rather do Goddard than stack with Likely, especially because I took Likely on that other big dog. And I don't really like him that much. So the team right now in this $500 big dog is Josh Allen, Jackson Dart, James Cook, Chase Brown, RJ Harvey, Tyron Tracy, Chris Olave, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Chris Godwin, Pitts, and Goddard. I feel the weakest at wideout, but I have a good basis there. And we're going to go volume there, obviously. I'm done at 2 tight end. I'm done at 2 QB. So might build the classic 2682. I also think I can get away with only having 5 RBs if I want to do the 2592 construction I want BBM with. Stribling goes at 148 in this one. All right, let's play the ADP and we'll go Naylor first. You went at 148. Just told you that. quite confident one of Naylor or Tucker will be a strong value, so I draft both. Trey Tucker goes. I don't want to have like 100% Alvin Kamara, but adds to my stack of the Saints-Falcons game. Seems just like a reasonable pick for points. Reporting today was that Kamara and Etienne split the first team. I understand last year was bad, but it doesn't have to be that bad this year necessarily. Like, no getting around it. It was bad last year. But I could see him being closer to like 120 points, 150 points. The main thing I don't love about always going Kamara here is I view Dylan Sampson somewhat similar. And it just kind of comes at the expense of me getting Sampson, who I'm going to guess I will not get in this draft. And I don't even know if I really want a 6th running back now that I have Kamara as the 5th. Can go both ways. It's like Kamara may be an advance rate piece, so maybe you want another guy who could still be playing late in the year. I mean, I'm not really drafting Kamara to be a runner of the football. I'm drafting him to be, you know, a receiver. Bryce Young falls all the time. In a large field contest, I would feel more, yeah, Samson goes. I'd feel more, wanting to take a Giants wide receiver. But in this, I think I can kind of fade the ambiguous situation at times. Dang, that's who I wanted. Trey Harris, a nice consolation gift, I think. Potentially a really good pick this year. Year 2 player, high-powered offense. Should be on the field. Might build this as a 2.592. Even if Kamara busts, like, I kind of feel like I have enough upside to get away with 4. Sure. I like Wicks. Adds more to this Eagles thing. Although I draft Lemon, I do realize that spot could get, it could be Wicks showing out at the expense of him. See, this is one of the biggest reasons why I like mixing in these running backs at the end of drafts is Marshawn Lloyd, Jordan James, Ray Davis. There's a lot of running backs who are a little bit more handcuffy and could smash. Let me stare at these running back and wide receiver rooms some more. Both are a little weak. You know, like Moore and Rome could be a little bit inconsistent. Which wants another wide receiver. Obviously, these three guys could be inconsistent as well. But you only need 2 running backs. And I did start with Cook Brown. Yeah, maybe I'll do the classic 2-5-9-2 today. It's fun. I was drafting a lot of James and Black early on, then started doing some other guys, and now I'm going to start doing it again. That's the other thing about Kamara, is he comes at the expense sometimes of me getting some of these other more speculative running back picks. Let's do Kayshon Boutte. I have a lot of Kayshon Boutte, but I don't think any in the high stakes. Okay, let me look at this. Olave, Moore, Rome, Godwin, Naylor, Trey Harris, Wicks, Boutte. Cook, Brown, Harvey, Tracy, Kamara. Yeah, it's fine at running back. Let's tack a wide receiver on and have some fun. Honestly, I like both these picks, and they both give me some correlation. Let's do Malachi Fields today. Team finishes up. You know, it's kind of like a luxury pick, but when you got some guys like, you know, like all these dudes could kind of, maybe their upside's limited. They all have some upside, but maybe it's not. And Malachi Fields is more like swinging for upside. Team finishes up Josh Allen and Jackson Dart, James Cook, Chase Brown, RJ Harvey, Tracy Kamara at running back, Chris Olave, DJ Moore, Rome, Godwin, Naylor, Trey Harris, Wicks, Boutte, and Fields at wide receiver for 9 total there. And then Pitts and Goddard at tight end. I tend to do this a lot on Underdog, like only 2 QB, only 2 tight end, but I like both bets at QB and tight end. And then sometimes I go 6-8, sometimes 5-9, something like this. I'll let the draft board finish out here because I'm sure some people are curious, and then we will end the stream. People want to see Renegade's team. Burrow, Prescott. It's a good running back room. He always builds thin at wide receiver. But, you know, he's got 2 anchors is how he views it. Like how he views it is like, well, these 2 guys are hitting the points. And then I have some other guys who will get in there, which I get. Okay, cool. Jalen Noel finishes up. All right, folks, that concludes our 2-hour stream with 3 drafts. Appreciate you. Probably be back tomorrow, almost certainly. If you missed it, updated ranks are live at beatbestball.com and a new article. Peace.